What is up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mythic Drafting, where today we are doing our very first draft of the new Lord of the Rings set. This is one I've been very excited for. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan and pretty keen to draft this one. So let's start by taking a look at our rare. We've got Delighted Halfling, which is a 1 mana dork. It taps for colours, but can tap to add 1 mana of any colour for a legendary, and that spell can't be countered. So pretty strong rare, I think. I think it's probably the pick here, although I have a feeling that green's probably not going to be the strongest colour in the format from what I've seen early on. Other cards I like here, I like Book of Mazabul. I think Glorfindel's okay. I think Treasons of Isengard's good in the blue-red spells deck. Smite the Deathless is very strong. I think Easterling Vanguard's a pretty good 2-drop as well. I think the best card in the pack, if I was drafting at a high level, is Smite the Deathless, probably, or Book of Mazabul. But here I'm just going to go ahead and take the Halfling. Want to play with the res and see what they're like early on in a format to get that experience with them. Now we've got another pick. We've got a Lothlorien Lookout in green, which is not going to be the pick here. There's a Shy Terrace if we want to go into a more multicolored deck. There's also Glorious Gale, which I think is a good blue card. It's a counter spell and the ring tempts you. There's also Lash of the Balrog here, which is a nice removal spell. But the card I think I'm going to take here is Golem's Bite. I think black's a very strong colour in the format. It's just instant speed disfigure, and you can exile it from your graveyard to have the ring tempt you, so it's got upside. I think Gorbag it's okay. I think it's pretty hard to get this to trigger, but as a 2-drop orc, it's probably acceptable. I think if I wasn't taking Golem's Bite, I'd probably actually take Lash of the Balrog or just take the Shy Terrace here over the green card. But we're going to go ahead and pick up the Golem's Bite here. Now I've got another pick between Glorfindel, which we're probably not taking, Ring Sight, so the ring tempts you and then you can search your library for a card. I think Ring Sight's interesting, but not what we're going to take here. Rally of the Hamburg at the Hornburg is, I think, quite good in the blue-red spells and probably black-red deck and the red-white deck as well. Just 2/1/1 hasters, and you're going to trigger a lot of things with humans here. But the cards I'm looking at are Mortal Muster and Lash of the Balrog. Mortal Muster is you draw a card and lose 1 life, amass Orcs 1, and then Lash of the Balrog is just the removal spell. Destroy target creature by sacking a creature or just paying 5. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and pick up the removal spell early on. I think it may be that Mortal Master is better, but I'm just going to take the removal spell there. And now I think we're probably going to end up taking this Mortal Master here. There's also an Ents Fury, which is the fight spell in black. So put a 1/1 counter on target creature if its power is 4 or greater, and then irrespective of whether you did that or not, you get to pump it again and fight target creature you control. I think that card's quite good. There's an Improvised Club in red, which is also fine. Surrounded by Orcs is not the best. And then there's Breaking into Fellowship, Spearmaster in red, which is fine. I do like Gwaihir the Windlord as a card I want to try out and see if you can make it work. It can be a 4/4 Flying Vigilance for 4 if you've drawn it 2 cards in a turn. But here I think we're going to take the Muster over the Ents Fury. And my reasoning for that is we just haven't seen a lot of green. We've seen some good black. We're in green. And I don't want to move into, a second colour there and commit basically to this halfling without good reason to do so. Although now it looks like, there's some good green-red cards here. Friendly Rivalry is a very good removal spell. Strider Ranger of the North is a strong Aragon. Legendary, there's Birthday Escape as well. Captains is good. I think Warbeast of Gorgoroth is also quite good as well. So there's a lot of good cards, but I think the card for us here is going to be Woe's Pathfinder. It's a bit awkward to take these green-red spells. I don't think we want to take a blue spell over a green spell. And then I think it's a bit better than Mirror Guardian. I'll also give consideration to Shy Terrace, but Pathfinder is a mana dog that taps from 1 mana of any colour, and later on it can pump your creatures. So with these two, we're pretty solidly got our colours now. I think, we're not guaranteed, but we're happy. We'd be happy to end up in green-black and potentially some ramp. We could take the Great Hall of the Citadel as a way to cast legendary spells, but we don't have any at the moment. We're not guaranteed, and it's a colourless land. I think Bilbo Retired Burglar is very strong. Probably shouldn't still be here. I also think that Banished from the Elders Adoris is quite good as well. But I think we're just going to pick up the Mirkwood Bats here. I think Green-Black has a few ways of generating tokens. And so this is just going to drain them for life here. So now I've got to pick. There's a Ireth, of Healing House, which I don't think we're going in for. Deceive the Messenger is good in the Amass deck. There's Fire of Orthanc, not interested in that. I think Enraged Huon is probably going to be the pick here. This is a good pump spell. This is a decent, I don't think this is that playable in best of one, but Enraged Huon's a 4/5 trample and enters the battlefield. The ring tempts you. So I think that's going to be the pick here given our start in green, and we're certainly leaning that way. Now there's an interesting pick. I quite like the Navigator. I think Hobbit Sting's probably playable in white-red and green-white, but we're just going to go ahead and pick up Generous Ent here as a 6-drop that also has Forest Cycling, creates a food token for Mirkwood Bats, which is also good for... Doesn't work for Lash of the Balrog, but it does work with the Bats, and it's just a pretty solid card all around, I think. Happy to pick that one up there. So now it's interesting. All 3 blue commons wheeled. There's a Mushroom Watchdog, which is good if we get a lot of food, but we only have 1 food card at the moment. And the Isolation at Orthanc is good. I also quite like Treason, the look of Treason. I think I'm just going to take the Watchdogs. I think there's an argument for taking Treason there in case blue is open, which it looks like it is with Gale and the Watcher wheeling there. Because if you take Treason, you can potentially pick them up and go into like a blue-black control deck with Amass, which I think is probably going to be one of the stronger archetypes in the format. And now we say that Birthday Escape's there as well, as is Ringside. I'm just going to go ahead and pick the Ringside up. I don't know how good this card is, but if blue's like mega open, we might move in here. Like our green's fine, but it's not amazing. Let's go ahead and pick up these green cards. We also picked up the Shire Terrace there. So I think Captain's better than Smoothing of Smeagol. So the decent pack 1, not amazing by any means. Now I think we're pretty solidly in black. I don't want to be in green-blue. I just think green-blue typically is like never very good. But our green cards, like the Woes Pathfinder and the Halfling are good, and these cards are fine, but the rest we're pretty open to. So I've opened Goldberry River Daughter, which is a nymph. You can move counters of each kind not on it from another target permanent you control onto it, and then you can move one or more counters from it onto another target permanent you control, and if you do, you draw a card. So this card just moves permanents, counters around. Like it's a cool card. I love the flavor, but not what we're looking for here over Claim the Precious, which I think is just going to be the best common in this set, up there with probably I think it's the Crabane, the 1-mana, the 3-mana 1/1 flyer that amasses 2. But yeah, you just destroy a target creature and the ring tempts you, so can't beat that for us here. Now there's a Display of Power, which is can't be copied. You copy any number of instant or sorceries. This is not a limited card. So then in black, we've got Gothmog Morgul Lieutenant, which gives creature tokens you control Death Touch, and it amasses 1. It's a 3/3 and a legendary. All these things are relevant. I think it's probably going to be the pick here. Over the Troll of Khazad-dûm, which is decent. I think Bag End Porter is also fine in an aggressive green deck. I really like more here. Uruk-hai Captain pumps all your amass in black-red. I think black-red's going to be a very strong archetype, but can't really take it here given our current start. So we're just going to keep on taking these black cards. And now we have a Frodo Sauron's Bane. I think Frodo is quite good in white-black. It's basically like a win condition itself if you can get it through and you had the ring tempt you enough. And it's just a pretty efficient creature, like a 1-mana that then turns into a 2/3 lifelinker is pretty good. Shire Sheriff's also very good. If you can exile tokens, sack tokens, and exile creatures, it's just a Fiend Hunter variant. But for us, I think we just want to stay in black here and just pick up another Bats. We don't have a ton of tokens at the moment. We do have a few, but I think the bats, if we can prioritize picking up enough tokens, is going to be quite good. Like, we've got Mortal Master, the Generous Ant makes food. So does Gothmog. So there's enough ways to make tokens so far. I think Easterling Vanguard would be good in that realm as well. But there's a Rise of the Witch King, which is a card that I'm pretty keen to try out, especially with the Forest Cyclers. So you can play this and sack a creature and then get back a creature. So you're effectively, like, we might Mortal Master a 1/1, land cycle the Ant, then sack our 1/1, kill that creature, and revitalize this. I'm not sure how good this card is going to be, but I think it's going to be pretty good, and it's certainly one I'm interested with playing with early. So now we have a Nasty End, which can sack creatures and draw cards. I think this is more of a sideboard card. There's another Enraged Horn, which is not something we're looking for here. And we're just going to go ahead and pick up Easterling Vanguard here. Just a 2/1 that when it dies, you amass 1. It's just good card advantage, good cheap creature to sacrifice to Rise of the Witch King on either side. Certainly happy to pick that one up here. Now we can see, like, the blue commons are gone, the uncommons are gone, the rare, so not much for us in this pack other than the Woes Pathfinder, which is probably just going to lock us into a green-black value deck, but pretty happy with where we're at. We also sort of have enough fixing between these two and the Shire Terrace to potentially, splash if we need to. I do quite like Erebor Flamesmith for a blue-red deck. Don't really love the Morgul Knife Wound. Pippin's Bravery seems fine if we get enough food. I think I probably prefer it over the Knife Wound, so just going to pick that one up in case we do manage to see a lot more food from here on out. Now I'm going to pick up a Urukai Berserker. I think this just being a 3/2 isn't great, but the fact that when it enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you also, like, a 3-mana 3/3 would be fine. The fact that this has 1 toughness less, but it makes up the ring tempt you, is quite valuable, and we've already got enough tempting going on where we're going to be able to trigger it pretty consistently. Golem's Bite. We've got Golem's Bite, Urukai Berserker, Claim the Precious, and the Enraged Horn, which we're going to pick up another one of here. And that's a good enough way to do the tempting. So now we're going to go get a Troll of Khazad-dûm, which I'm pretty happy with, actually. As well as picking up a Bag End Porter over... We don't have a lot of legendary creatures, actually, so I don't really know how much I want a 4-mana 4/4. I think I'd actually just pick up the Hall of the Citadel in the event that we open some bonkers rare and we want to splash it. Also think the Mirror Guardian's potentially playable. Speaking of playable and bonkers legends that we were going to want to play, Shelob, Child of Ungoliant is amazing. It's an 8/8 for 6, Death Touch Ward 2. Gives all spiders you control Death Touch and Ward. Whenever another creature dealt damage this turn by a spider dies, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a food, and it loses all other creature types. So effectively, Shelob turns all of her enemies into food. Extreme flavor win, and also just a really strong card, especially with our ramp. I'm pretty excited to pick up Shelob here. We also might wheel something from this pack with Golem's Bite, Lash. There's some other good cards in Theoden, Gandalf, the Kingfisher, but we're not passing up Shelob, so we're going to go ahead and slam that one now. Now we've got another black-red uncommon in Ugluk of the White Hand. This is just another engine card to make black-red orcs a thing, as is Dunland Crabane. 2-mana 1/1 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, amass orcs 2. Works well with our bats. Works well with the ring tempts you, and certainly is going to be the pick here over like a Shire Terrace or the Galadrim Guide, or set like Splashing Samwise or something like that. So happy to pick up a Dunland Crabane there. And now a couple of interesting ones here. Pippin's Bravery, not going to take another one of those. We've got Galadrim Bow, which is, I think, actually not going to be that bad. I think this will be fine if you play it as a combat trick. But the card for us is going to be the Torment of Golem. 4-mana 2/2, effectively, because it's a mass 2. and then they reveal their hand and you choose a non-land card from it, they discard it. So effectively it's a 2/2 for 4 that also allows you to Thought Seize your opponent without losing life. Pretty fantastic card for us to pick up there. So now there's a Sharky, which steals activated abilities of lands. Not going to be the pick for us. There's a Lothlorien Lookout. There's a Legolas Counter of Kills. But I don't think we want to splash that. There's also a Nasty End. I don't think we want to play that either. And then there's a Grond. But I don't think this is the deck for Grond. We don't have enough Orcs. We could take the Flyer, but I don't think that's what we want either. I think I'm just going to pick up the Lookout. I don't think we're going to play it, but we may want to have just another cheap creature on the curve. Now there's a Nazgul. So when it enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you, so it becomes a 2/3 Death Touch. And whenever the ring tempts you, put a 1/1 counter on it. So it becomes a 2/3 Death Touch for 3. But then with all our ring tempting us going on, I think this card's going to be quite solid for us. I mean, if you get this thing in multiples, it's just amazing. But yeah, I think it's going to be quite good, and we can go ahead and cut the Mirror Guardian because we want the cards to be tempting as they come in. We've actually got a fair bit of tempting going on. I think Watchdog can get out. I think all those cards can get out as well. We're going to go ahead and pick up. So it's a Woes Pathfinder or Mortal Muster. I think this deck just wants the... Oh, I was trying to take the Muster there. We could have had another one. That's my bad. Should have highlighted it earlier. Shortcut to Mushrooms is also fine, but we'll just go ahead and take another Muster here. I think with the Bats and the Gothmog and just getting some more card advantages is going to be good. So now actually, how many instants or sorceries do we have? We have 6 sorceries. We could have had 7 if we had another Mortal Muster, but Mouth of Sauron's really strong, I think. I don't think we're going to play any of these other cards. I don't think we're going to end up running the Mouth, but you never know. This card is just bonkers. It mills. So we've got another Shire Terrace now. We could actually splash this, but I think we don't want to. I think we just want to play... I think we just want to keep it pretty consistent here. Although between double Pathfinder... So effectively it's a 3/4 and it comes in at mills 3. And then you amass Orcs X equal to the number of instants or sorceries in your graveyard. It also fuels Rise of the Witch King. It's potentially a bit of a combo. I think we could have had a really sick blue-black deck splashing Shelob, but these Pathfinders and Delighted Halflings kind of sucked us into green. Probably were meant to be in blue-black, I think, in this draft. But so this is what it looks like if we just run just blue-black, green-black. We could sub out like one of the enraged horns for the Mouth of Sauron, but I think to start the format, let's just go ahead and keep it simple and just run it like this. Could take a Surith as well. There's also the option to just play 16 land, given we have 2 land cyclers and 3 mana dorks, and bring in like a Mirror Guardian. I think I actually like that quite a bit. We have enough of all of our... We'll actually just play the Sirath Ungol Patrol. Because we have enough mana sources in this deck that we can afford to do this. The ring tempting us is going to be pretty nice with the Nazgul. And also just generally I'm keen to try it out. So yeah, let's go ahead and run another ring tempting us creature. And we'll run this 40, play 16 land with 3 mana dorks and 2 land cyclers. And I'll see you for game number 1. Alrighty, we are here for game number 1. This hand is going to be a keep. We've got Claim the Precious, Lash of the Balrog, and Dunlan Crabane. So pretty strong opener to start us off. Excuse me as my email notifications ping in the background, but opponent's taking a mulligan, baked as a cake. We're going to see if we can bake them in this game. Starting off with Haunt of the Dead Marshes, which is a 1/1 that when it enters the battlefield you scry 1. and then it can be returned from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped, and you can only activate it if you control a legendary creature. So I think this card's fine. I don't think it's anything special. We're just going to go ahead and drop the Dunland Crabane here. Run out our flyer and our 2/2, and immediately this Haunt of the Dead Marshes won't be doing very much. Now next turn we can play Halfling. Would have been good to have this on turn 1, into Crabane, into this on turn 4, but certainly not complaining when we draw Shelob here. So now we could kill this and suit up a Ring Bearer, which wouldn't be bad with the enraged Horn to start cycling our hand. So I think we definitely want to cast the Halfling. The question is, then do we want to Lash or just claim the Precious? And I think we just want to claim the Precious here and kill the 4/2. And then we'll make our Dunland Crabane be the Ring Bearer. It's also quite good because Delighted Halfling actually blocks that Ring Bearer. So we can stop that little Ring Bearer, but the pesky Dunland Crabane is going to avert the gaze of Sauron here and get in. And now next time we're either going to cast Enraged Huon and start filtering our deck, or we're just going to slam a Shelob down. Looks like we'll just be slamming down Shelob because it's going to be pretty hard for them to deal with that. Unless, of course, they've got a removal spell, which they may have. Just in case they somehow have a counter spell, which I don't think they can. This now can't be countered. We'll go ahead and slam it. The fact as well that they don't have an instant speed removal spell means, like, if they do have one, they're going to have to spend that turn this turn to deal with it. Otherwise, we're just going to get in. Now we could... I think we just want to cast Enraged Horn here. Or actually, we probably just want to hold it. Yeah, let's go ahead and just attack here. We could Master first, but I think I just want to see what the opponent has. Probably just going to chump here, I think. But that means we're going to get a copy of the creature. So it gets indestructible. They get to amass 1. So they're effectively just fogging. We'll just go ahead and play Enraged Huon now. Onto our Dunland Crabane. I think just level up the ring again. Now opponent's facing down a fair bit. We can also lash anything big that they play. There's the One Ring to rule them all, but that destroys all non-legendary creatures. And Shelob's legendary. And also takes a turn to kick in. And Dunland Crabane's also legendary. So now our opponent has claimed the Precious. We get another Enraged Huon. So actually go ahead and suit up. I don't know. Whenever your Ring Bearer comes blocked, its opponent sacrifices at the end of combat. So I don't actually care too much about that. I think we just want to keep bashing in with the Crabane here. And discard the Terrace. Because next turn, if we can tempt the ring again, it's going to be lethal on its own. Ring Tempts is a pretty cool mechanic. That's our first game of Lord of the Rings, and that's our first win in the set, and I'll see you for game number 2. Alrighty, welcome back for game number 2. We're on the draw. We've got a Shire Terrace and no Forest, but this hand is good enough, I think, that we definitely want to keep it, especially given opponents taking a mulligan. We can Mortarmaster to cycle this and amass 1, which is going to be really good with Rise of the Witch King. And if we don't hit a Forest, we can just cycle this on turn 3 for 1 to be able to rise. And if we do draw 1, we're going to be Mirror Gardening into Rise of the Witch King. Also potentially, you know, if we draw Forest this turn, we could just play Warrior's Pathfinder. But that's not to be. So let's go ahead and muster and keep on digging for that Forest. Not going to hit it that turn. This potentially should have just gone and got the Forest. But I think getting the token out for the Rise is pretty solid. Frodo Sauron's Bane now from the opponent. We have no choice here but to go and get... So they can flip Frodo. Well, they used Shire Scarecrow to splash the Frodo. Let's go ahead and end the turn here. We're going to go ahead and sacrifice this to get a forest, and then Rise. Rise isn't actually particularly good given that we don't have anything we want to get back yet. But the token's going to be useful later on to do that. Let's go ahead and take 2. So I've got Took Reaper. Let's go ahead and sack this. Getting a forest. Could muster again. I think that's actually what we want to do. Because then we can cast Pathfinder and get Shelob out. Next turn. So opponent's going to get to hit us for a little bit, but we're going to get to stick Shelob, I think. Next turn. They can go ahead and go all in on this Frodo with Shire, Scarecrow, and flip it and have the ring tempt us. But that's like going very all in on that plan. And we can just trade Pathfinder and Woe's Pathfinder and Orc Army for it. So they're not coming in this turn. Could trade here, but then the ring tempts us. I think we just want to prevent them from having the ring on Frodo. We're not taking too much damage at this point. It's a 3-1. Also not that problematic. Particularly when we're just going to be sticking Shelob this turn. So Shelob comes down. Ward 2 is going to be a big help for this board. We can still technically block Frodo unless they can give it the ring somehow. So we're gonna have they're gonna have to chump attack the Took Reaper in order to get the ring going. And then we're gonna get the Took Reaper back. Opponent not happy with that one. No attacks. I wonder if they had the counter target creature spell and that the Scarecrow just tapped them out in a weird manner. So now they've flipped the Frodo all the way. So whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game if a ring has tempted you 4 or more times. Otherwise, the ring tempts you. It's an awesome card, but not much that they can do with it this turn, it looks like. And we're going to get to go ahead and... So we can amass Orc 1, or we can just play Mirror Guardian and Gorthmog. The ring hasn't tempted them yet, so I think that's actually... We just want to get in with Shelob first. They're probably going to start chump blocking. We'll see if they chump block with the Took Reaper. If they do, that'll give them the ring, but then we can trade the Took Reaper and the Woe's Pathfinder for Frodo, and we'll just play like Gorthmog or Mirror Guardian. It's going to be tough for the opponent to deal with Shelob here. They've also got to hit us 3 more times, 4 more times with Frodo for it to actually kill us. So is this a creature? Can't create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a food artifact with sacrifice. Oh, so I think this is just a food, but it's not. It can't actually block. Wow, I thought Shelob gave you the creature. So now I'm just going to play Mirror Guardian because I don't want to amass Orcs to make this a 3/3 because then we can't block. So we could play Gorthmog. We could play Rise of the Witch King here. But I think it's worth just shipping the turn and just keeping on getting it with Shelob. Next turn we can Gorthmog and Rise of the Witch King if we need to. Well, so Shelob just... it's still pretty cool. Like, I mean, the fact that this turns them into food that we eat and gain life is pretty cool, but I thought it actually gave you the full creature, which would obviously be even better. So now opponent is not getting in. Go ahead and sack Took Reaper for some food. Gonna eat little Shelob. When it dies, we get to tempt us with the ring. So who do we want to be our little ring bearer here? I think Woe's Pathfinder just gets blocked. I think let's make Shelob the ring bearer now. Go ahead and play this. We could, we could play this and then start filtering, which I think is pretty nice. Yeah, I think let's go ahead and do this. It means we can't Rise of the Witch King if they double block, but I'm pretty happy with them double blocking here, and we can just do it next turn. We get to start filtering our deck as well. Like if they double block, we get 2 food, we just Rise of the Witch King away, Woe's Pathfinder or our army, and then bash in. Also, there's a possibility we should have just attacked and then threatened the Woe's Pathfinder, but I'm actually happy to get a creature in the bin here to be able to Rise of the Witch King next turn. Especially just given how far ahead on cards we are. So now we just get to go ahead and take these 2 out. Get some more tokens. Although actually it doesn't because it's only 7. So they couldn't even block. We get the second win there. And I'll see you for game number 3. Alrighty, back again for game number 3. I think this hand's going to be a keep. We can get a swamp. We've got 2 spells we can cast, plus a third. If we just draw lands, it's going to turn out pretty well, I think. Especially if we can draw a swamp this turn. I mean, if we can't, we'll just Vanguard into... The Halfling there is a bit sad. We could just cast Halfling now. But I think we just want to go and get the land. Does enable more mana next turn, but... Yeah, I think we just want to go get our land here. So we'll go ahead and ship the turn. If we draw a land, we can play each Halfling and Vanguard, setting up Berserker and Golem's Bite, potentially. So let's go ahead and get a swamp here. Opponents on double swamps as well. I think black is going to be seen a lot in this format. So it's a good draw because we can go Halfling now into Vanguard. Now if we draw a land, we can play Enraged Horn and make our Vanguard a little bit of a legendary. Alternatively, we can play Berserker and Golem's Bite here. So Denethor Ruling Steward is a fantastic one. Let's just go ahead and attack in. This is an instant. Opponent's probably just going to snap block here. I mean, they probably shouldn't block. It's pretty obvious, I think, that we have something there. So now we can play Enraged Huon or... Sorry, Uruk-hai Berserker or Woe's Pathfinder. And I think we're going to go ahead and drop the Pathfinder here. The reason for that is next turn now we can... If we draw a land, we can play the big Tree Folk and Golem's Bite. But it does guarantee us to play this one out and potentially make our Vanguard legendary. So Denethor is a 2/4 for 3. I think this is one of the better uncommons in the set. Beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, you create a 1/1, and then you can sack a creature for 2 mana to drain for 1. We're going to have no blocks here. We could theoretically double block and Golem's Bite, but it's just not worth the risk at this point. Because if they have one way of killing one of our creatures, we lose both creatures and the bite. And that's just a pretty easy 3-for-1 we don't need to expose ourselves to. So Horn of Gondor is coming down, creating a 1/1 white human token. Horn of Gondor, I think, is one of the better rares in the set. It's just pretty oppressive. So our options are kill the 1/1 to slow them right down, because otherwise they're going to be making 2 next turn. I think we actually want to do that. Seems a little bit counterintuitive, but it does just mean that we can get in with I think we potentially want to make the Pathfinder our ring bearer. We're going to have another ring bearer next turn, but this way it's going to definitely get in. And if we do another ring tempts us, we can start looting with this. We also have enough ring tempting to get ourselves up to the maximum power of the ring here. So Westfield Rider is coming down. Opponent's going to get to make 2 1-1s this turn. So Horn of Gondor is just going to take over this game absolutely here. It's going to be very difficult for us to win through. Because they're going to be now they can make 4 1-1s next turn. It's just an endless supply of creatures. Almost impossible for us to deal with. And Rise of the Witch King is just doing absolutely nothing here. So I think we just run out another Enraged. Make Enraged itself the ring bearer, and we can draw and discard. Claim the Precious is a nice one. Rise of the Witch King's pretty bad against Horn. So opponent letting us get in there. I mean, I think that makes sense because they can just make 4 1-1s this turn with Horn of Gondor. I think this is probably like one of the better rares to open in the set. It's an engine by itself. There's a lot of humans, and like on this board, you just pretty much can't. It's gonna be very, very difficult for us to beat this card. We do have 2 trampling 4/5s, which does help us. We also can potentially set up like a ring bearer here where we're going to get to, like, we could kill the Denethor, make this a 3-power ring bearer to force him to sacrifice everything. We also have the ability to trample, but an opponent has an endless supply of 1-1s here. I mean, next turn they're getting 8 1-1s off of Horn of Gondor, so we could claim the Precious, or we can just pump. I think it's actually better to just pump here. Also should have held the land, I've realised there, but it's not going to be too big a deal, I think. I think we're pretty much locked to lose this game against Horn of Gondor. Although we can't actually do that because it's 7 mana, not 6. I'm used to those abilities being 6, but well, opponent letting us get in. So I think we just want to claim the Precious here on Denethor. The ring can tempt us one more time. We can end the turn. Another Denethor Ruling Steward. So the opponent's deck is absolutely busted. They're getting a bajillion 1-1s. The only way we could have won this with flyers. It's a pretty rough matchup for us. The Torment of Golem is also not going to do it. I think let's just go ahead and see what they've got in their hand, but the Horn of Gondor is just going to take over by itself. Shelob's Ambush, claim the Precious. Yeah, so let's ditch the claim the Precious. I mean, I think we just have to ship, but I think this game is pretty much done. There's nothing we can do against the endless stream of 1-1s there, and I'll see you for game number 4. Alrighty, back again for game number 4. This hand is going to be a keep. It's a little sketchy with Woe's Pathfinder being our only black source, but if we draw one more land, we're going to be casting a turn 4 Gothmog into Mirkwood Bats, or the other way around if we prefer. I imagine that opponent's probably snap killing this Pathfinder. No, they're going the Call of the Ring. So now we can Mortal Muster. Just hoping to hit a land at this point. We do hit a land, but it's not the one we want. So the ring tempts the opponent. Beginning of your upkeep, the ring tempts you. Whenever you choose a creature as your ring bearer, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. So this card doesn't look amazing on surface, but I've seen some early stats for it on 17 lands, and it looks really good. So yeah, it's one to certainly keep an eye out for. So now we could Lash of the Balrog, or Gothmog, or we can just... The unfortunate thing is we don't have 2 we don't have 2 black sources. So I think we just want to play the Dunlop Crabane actually lets us get in for 3. And I think going for a big amass token here is going to be a way through. So now we get to get in for 3 here. We're going to be getting in for more next turn. So we're going to swamp cycle that. And then we're going to have Lash, Bite, Claim, and Bats to hopefully close the game out. So opponents pay 2 life to draw the extra card. So we're up against a card advantage engine, and we're just going to need to try and close this game out as quickly as possible before they can take advantage of all the cards that they're going to have in hand. But we've already got an opponent under a decent enough clock, and paying 2 life for a card is no joke. So you have to choose a creature as your ring bearer. So I think this triggers every single time you pick it, irrespective of the fact that it's already been picked. But I'm not 100% sure on that. So we will find out. So Gorbag of Minas Morgul, whenever a Goblin or Orc you control does common damage to a player, you may sacrifice it when you do. Draw a card or create a treasure token. So Gorbag's great if you've got a lot of little armies and you can sack them for cards, but in this instance, you're not going to want to sack the 3/3 for it. So we're going to have no blocks here. They've got the second stage there. Now we have no black source, so we're pretty stuffed at this point, I think. I think the removal spell and not drawing a black source in our first 5 cards is going to do it in for us here. They're going to gain some more life. So I don't think they didn't draw here. They didn't pay 2. So now they're getting in again. Can't block Goldberry. And next turn Goldberry is going to it's just going to do 3 damage to us. It's going to be doing 4 damage to us. So that's a big problem for us, obviously. So now Easterling Vanguard comes in. Now we're going to want, I think, to hold Dunlop Crabane back to block that thing. Just get in with the 3/3 here. I just don't want to take too much damage, and I'm hoping to play the Mirror Guardian, trade it for the 2/2, trade this for the 2/1. But now they're going to block. So they've probably got something here. Nasty End sacrificing it. Drawing 2 and amassing 1. Pretty nice little combo, but Mirror Guardian blocks well now. If I had known they would block and do that, with Dunlop Crabane. Stern Scolding, I think, is a really nice uncommon there. It shows it for 1 mana getting to counter our 3 mana play is just a huge tempo play, especially in decks like these. Call the ring decks, I think, that are going to be quite good, are going to be the ones that have lots of cheap cards and can take advantage really nicely of the extra card draw. Voracious Fellbeast is just going to have to sack our little Dunlop Crabane there, but another really nice one for opponents. So opponents' deck seems very strong. Blue-black seems strong in this format from what I've seen so far. Get to hit us, we lose 3 life. They get to sack that 1/1 if they want for a card, or they can create a treasure token. They're not sacking it, so we don't draw anything, and that's going to be the game. Unfortunate way to lose the second one, and I'll see you for game number 5. Alrighty, a bit of a better opening hand here. We've got Dunlop Crabane into Mirkwood Bats, which I think is going to be good enough. I'd love to have a 2-drop, but no mana issues with this hand, hopefully. And hopefully we can just draw a 2-drop and then curve out on opponent. Haven't been too impressed with the Bats yet, but also appreciating that I haven't had a hand that's been particularly conducive to the Bats so far. Let's go ahead and end the turn. Basically show them anytime your opponent has priority on 1 mana, they've probably got a land cycler if they're not going ahead and passing. And now we're going to play Shard Terrace, and we will cycle the Terrace because we'll get another land out of our deck. We just want to minimize the chances that we're drawing more land. Given we've already got 5, we only need 1 more for the big Troll of Khazad-dûm. Up against a green-black mirror here, or again mirroring off with the Dunlop Crabanes. We're holding at the forest, shuffling away the Mirror Guardian, which is good because we probably didn't want to draw that. That's another nice one here because now we can go Crabane into bats, into the horn, into Khazad-dûm. Khazad-dûm's a nice one. Being like a 6/5 that can only be blocked by 3 or more creatures is pretty good. I think here I'll pretty happily just offer the trade. We're going to be on the draw here. So we don't just want to take the damage and get done by tempo. Now I'll go ahead and slam the bats. Opponent with no play on turn 4. Probably got a hand chock full of removal. I'm just going to present the 2/3 flyer there. Now nothing from opponent again. So interesting, but we'll just go ahead and curve out now. Like Enraged Horn into Troll of Khazad-dûm. We'll have 2 with Claim the Precious and Mirror Guardian the turn after. It's going to be nice, I think. So they don't appear to have anything here. Probably have like, I don't know if they have a Claim the Precious, but they've got a Generous Ent. So that's obviously what they were playing towards, but let's go ahead and... No Ent for you, my friend. That one's going to die. We're going to give ourselves a Ring Bearer. Play the 4/2. Hit them for 6. We can discard the Halfling now because it's useless to us. An opponent's under a pretty significant clock here, facing down 10 power. Plus we've got Troll back up. They've got another Generous Ent though. So Generous Ent is going to slow us right down. But Troll of Khazad-dûm. Whenever this creature can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. Yeah, so actually we just go ahead and get in with the bat. It can't be blocked. Go ahead and cycle the swamp. Just get in. And Troll of Khazad-dûm isn't going to be able to be blocked by them either. So they've got a bit of a life buffer here with these 2 food tokens, but we'll be able to get in pretty nicely with the team. I mean, we can potentially swing out because if Mirror Guardian, what I was going to say there, like the Ring Tempts us again would be quite nice there because we could put it on the 4/5. So it may have been worth swinging out. But that's going to do it. 3 and 2, and I'll see you for game number 6. Alrighty, on to game number 6 here. We're on the draw. This hand's a little bit awkward, but I think it's a keep. Like, Mirror into Torment of Golem is pretty nice. Plus Rise of the Witch King with the Golem is good. Not going to cycle the Troll here, given we've already got 4 lands. Don't think we're going to need it. Opponent's playing white, so they're probably some kind of aggressive deck. But wow, they are playing the Shire Sheriff as just a 2/2 Vigilance. So that's a pretty big win for us, because this thing is a pretty nice one. So we'll go ahead and ship the turn here, but Vigilance 2/2, when it enters the battlefield, you can sacrifice a token. When you do, you exile target creature an opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield. So one of the more powerful cards in the set if you can consistently sacrifice a token to it. But now it's just a 2/2 Vigilance for 2. We've got a Mirror Guardian. They're going to get to the Ring Tempts them. Potentially should have just held that, but they can... Yeah, I mean, they're going off a little bit here with Hobbit Sting. The Ring has tempted us, though. And now I think we just want to Torment of Golem them here. We get to take a card out of the hand. The 2/2 body is really nice on this battlefield. And we're going to want to take... They've got Stew the Conies. They've got 2 Mushroom Watchdogs. They've got Quick Beam, but we're going to go ahead and take the white card, because now if they don't draw a forest, they're in a lot of trouble. They hit the forest, so they can Stew the Conies if they want to. We will just go ahead and block the Vigilance. Mushroom Watchdogs is coming down. Target creature you don't control. But Enraged Horn is going to clog this board up quite nicely. They don't have any food to pump the Watchdogs with. The Ring Bearer is getting in here though, so we do need to stop that pretty quickly. And a great way of doing that is with a Gothmog. Let's go ahead and Gothmog it up. And I'm actually just going to go ahead and cycle the Troll of Khazad-dûm here. get the land onto the battlefield. We'll also attack. No, I think we just hold for one turn and we can start attacking next turn. We know they have stupid conies. They can create a food. So now I think we just... Yeah, opponents see the writing on the wall there. They know that we can handle that. They got off to a bit of a stumbling start, but we're 4-2, and I'll see you for game number 7. Alrighty, back again for game number 7. We're on the draw again. Got a 2-drop in our hand this time. Double Mirkwood Bats. Gonna go ahead and just ship the turn. We're not going to land cycle here. We're going to play the Vanguard. Can play double Bats. And then follow it up with a little token. So we've got a 1-3. This thing taps to add mana of any colour to cast instants or sorceries. And then you can pay 6 to mill 3. I don't know how much the mill is going to be a win condition in this set. It doesn't seem... I mean, Torment of Golems is really nice here. Probably got to take the Ent, I think. Although there's an argument to take the Bats, but I think I'd probably just take the Ent in that situation. So now let's go ahead and muster up. Another muster there is not bad at all. Go ahead and shift the turn. We're more interested in blocking here. Trading this to get a 2-2, and then we can make a 3-3 with it. So happy to just block to potentially trade there. Now that they've got the 3-3, we could offer the trade here. They are not going to let us. So we'll just go ahead and play out our Bats. I think the reason for that, Stern Scolding comes in. The opponent's down to 3 cards. We've got to ship the turn. Generous Ent is like our win con at this point. We do have some nice ones, like Rise of the Witch King would be pretty nice here because we could get back a Bat. And we could later on use it to get back a Generous Ent again. So opponent playing Arwen's Gift. They draw Scry 2, then draw 2. Love this card. I mean, it can be a 3-mana Scry 2 Divination if you've got 2 legendaries. Interested to see how playable it is. It does look a bit slow, but certainly a powerful effect if you can take a turn to cast it like this the opponent can. But equally, like if they just played a creature, I'd probably be a lot more scared at this point in the game. So now let's go ahead and muster up Rise of the Witch King. It's going to be good, but we're going to want to just ship the turn here and then play Anti-Boy next turn. Opponent's going to tap, scry, and draw 1. They've probably got the Gale in their hand, which the counterspell for countering a creature, which I think is going to be pretty good in this set. Just seems like being able to hold counterspells and people playing 6-mana spells, countering them is going to be pretty nice for 2 mana and being able to cast other spells, particularly when like you're going to have other like when you've got ways of drawing and having lots of mana. So now Saruman the White, whenever you cast your second spell each turn, you amass 2. So this card is really nice ward 2 as well. So hard to deal with. And if you can cast another spell on the same turn, it's obviously very, very strong. Go ahead and just slam down our Generous Ent here. Don't think we have much of an option otherwise. No attacks from us on this board. Just say go. Saruman's going to quickly take over the game. I think Saruman the White is very, very strong card. Particularly at this turn, like if they had a 3-mana spell, they could go Saruman, play a spell. Like now they're going to play a spell on amass here. Yeah, so they just get to amass 5. They get to bash us for 5. They could attack with Saruman, but not much of a point there. Claim the Precious is a good one. Gonna have to play old Claim the Precious here on the Saruman. Pay the ward 2. The ring tempts us. I mean, we're not really going to be attacking. So I'll just make Eastern Vanguard our ring bearer. Then play Woe's Pathfinder. Ship the turn. Probably going to need to chump, I think, with probably the 2-2 so that we can Witch King the 2-1. Yes, they get isolation back now. So probably just chump here because Witch King is going to be good chumping. Then I think we just want to... The Ent is just going to get put away. Whereas Witch King can potentially gum up the board a little bit more. I think maybe we actually just want a Witch King here. So we each sack a creature. We sack a Vanguard. They're going to sack the 1-3. We'll get back a bat. We create a 1-1. We drain them. And now we say go. Actually, could have attacked with the Pathfinder there, but opponent's going to get in. So we could block. But I think we just want to take 7. And then opponent has to choose whether they're playing this turn. I mean, they can play it at their end step. At our end step. But we're gonna play Ent. They're gonna put it away. Lash of the Balrog. So that is a really nice one to draw here. Let's go ahead and slam down our generous Ent. Create the food. Drain them for 1. And then we can just go ahead and attack with our 1-1. They can trade it if they want, but I think we can attack with both actually. No, I think they might want to trade for the Wayfinder here, and this is the Pathfinder. This is going to allow us to close the game out. So now I can lash with this, sack a creature, take down that 7/7 army, and this is like so that. The way the amass mechanic works is you can really snowball by getting a really powerful army, but it does mean you've invested a lot of resources into one creature which can be taken down with a single removal spell. So now opponent's going to put Generous Ent on top, and they're not going to do it this turn. So potentially should have done it that turn. It has a reach, so now we have Mirror Guardian. Go ahead and just bash in with the Ent. They're probably going to put it on top. Yes, they put it on top. We'll just go ahead and play old Mirror. And the turn, we've got one draw until we hit another Generous Ent. Opponents hit red, so they could have like Sauron in their deck that they might be splashing. We just get to drain them now for 2. We get to gain 2. Let's go ahead and just put the pressure on the opponent, start trying to turn the corner here. We'll go ahead and trample up our big boy, hit them for 6 with it, and now like they're just dead next turn to Mirkwood Bats. So, and Mirror Guardian doesn't die because it's +3/+3. So, opponent is very likely dead next turn. Pretty surprised we managed to win that after they got the Sauron out there, but drawing the removal spells when we did on both occasions was very, very clutch. 5-2, and I'll see you for game number 8. Alrighty, back again for game number 8. This hand's going to be a keep. It looks like we've got the awkward land here again, but we've got a good old friend, the Troll of Khazad-dûm here, to go and get us the swamp that we need to start mustering up a big army. And Draught Basin. So put a 1/1 counter on target creature with power X. Activate as only a sorcery. So I don't think that's particularly good. So if you've got a 2-power creature, you have to pay 2 mana to put a counter on it, and it only gets activated as a sorcery. We'll see. Some of these cards, like it's hard to know, but I don't think this card is particularly good. It's pretty awkward in some situations as well. So we can only play one thing here. We can only muster up some orcs. We've got a 2/2 now that we've like paid 4 mana and no cards effectively for a 2/2. And now next turn we can Torment of Golem them to make a 4/4. We've got 4 out of Orcs, so they get to take down our 2/2 here, which is pretty nice. But we're going to go ahead and now Torment of Golem them and take their best card. So what do we have here? We have March from the Black Gate. We have Barad-dûr as the black card. Unless you control a legendary creature. They also have Knights of Dol Amroth. Morgul Knife Wound. I think I want to take March from the Black Gate. I don't have any way to kill that Orc army. They can't play this turn, but... So they can play the Knights this turn. Whenever you draw a second card, put a +1/+1 counter on it. But I really don't want them to... The March is the card I'm more concerned about. Like, this 3/3 is potentially problematic, but the March is just... If this game goes long, it's going to be a huge value engine for them. And so I just want to take it out. And while we could have got more of a tempo advantage there, I think that that's probably the right play long term. Lash of the Balrog's really nice here because we can now enraged Horn. Just do not know how to say that, but it up. They're probably going to trade that 2/2 here. They're not going to trade that 2/2, so they can give -3, -1 to it to take out our enraged Horn, but then we can pay 2 mana. So Ugluk of the White Hand. Whenever another creature you control dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. If that creature was a Goblin or Orc, you put 2 counters on it instead. Okay. So now they're powering up their little Orc, which means they can't block our 4/5. So we have a few options here. I want to save the Lash for when they Morgul Knife Wound something so that we can just use it in response. Gothmog is nice. I can pay 3 mana to start putting counters on things. Kind of just want to get the bat going. But also, I think I want to be more mana efficient here and just play the Huron. Actually, yeah, let's play this. Keep this as our ring bearer. And then we're going to get to cycle through our deck here. So, yeah, I think I like this line better. We can always lash with the 2/2 post-combat as well if they don't play the Knife Wound. Like, they can only put a +1/+1 counter on one creature each turn. So I'm going to Knife Wound one of these. That's absolutely fine. We're probably going to take down Ugluk with the White Hand. They don't have anything they can actually put the counter on effectively, but if they put it on Ugluk, then we just kill Ugluk and hold back in ranged Huron again. They're probably putting on the 4/4 on the army, which we don't want to kill because then they just power up the Ugluk. So they should actually put it on this. Yeah, I think they should put it on the 4/4 there. So we're not going to exile it. We're going to pay 2 life. And then we're going to... Let's just... Well, actually, I think we just want to attack first to see what we draw. So let's see what we draw. Discard a forest here. Got a blocks, and we're actually... We could play out a land, but I don't think we want to. I think we just want to play bats and lash here. So let's go ahead and lash, sack a creature, kill this, sack that. Now we can hold the land, because next time we can still play both these cards if we don't draw, but opponent has seen enough. We are now 6-2, and we'll be playing for a trophy in our first draft, and I'll see you for that match in just a minute. Alrighty, back for the final match here. 6-2, playing for the trophy. This hand's unfortunately going to be a mulligan. We just had 2 forests and all black spells, so can't keep that one. interesting hand here. I think we actually put back, we keep 6. We put back a forest. And the reason for this is we're going to go swamp, land cycle. And then we have set up our Rise of the Witch King combo here. So we're going to be able to sack the 1/1 or an army or the Dunlin, the 1 on flyer or the army, and then get back our Troll of Khazad-dûm on turn 4, which is going to be pretty nice. We're also going to be putting them under a fair bit of pressure here when we muster into Dunlin Crebain as a 3/3 on attacking on turn 3. So because it's effectively gives the amass part haste if you've already got the amass. So that's why having an early amass creature is just so important. So now whatever they play here is just dead. Because we're going to go and rise up the Witch King, sack our 1/1, get back a big Troll of Khazad-dûm, and then bash in with a 3/3. So on turn 5, we've hit them for 6, and we've got 9 power and toughness on the board with a couple of cards in hand as well, all off a mulligan to 6. So really nice curve out there. Really enjoying the set so far. I mean, I think that what I've learned early so far in this is just that the amass cards are pretty powerful. I think Dunlin Crebain's really good. I think having the value 2 for 1s is really good, but also having removal is pretty important as well. So to me, I think this set, from initial glimpse, looked like it's going to play a lot more like a core set and more of a basic draft environment than the previous set we had in March of the Machine, which is a lot more complicated. And so going back to some of the basics of drafting there is going to be important, but I think there's still a lot of pockets of synergy around that are going to be important in order to maximize, your wins and your losses. So opponents amassed there. We're going to get to pump up our army, bash them for 10. Don't really think they can block. And we can also just drop our old friend the Uruk-hai Berserker here as well and just put an enormous amount of pressure on the opponent, and we'll make a 4 for the Ring Bearer. Could have made the Uruk-hai Berserker actually, but if they play like a 5 power creature, I think, don't know what there is, but I don't really think there's much in the format that can bring them back from here. And there isn't, and that is the win. So after starting off 2-2, I didn't necessarily think we were going to get there, but really happy to get the trophy in the first draft of the format, 7-2, with a pretty sweet green-black deck. I think it's a bit of an interesting draft to navigate. I definitely think blue was open, and I think that our best cards were probably the black cards. I don't think these Enraged Huans actually were quite good, and Rise of the Witch King was good as well. I think Shelob's good, and Generous Hand is good as well, but really the main way we won those games was, Rise won us a few, but a lot of value off of Dunlin Crebain, Claim the Precious, Mortar Muster, just outvaluing the opponents. So can't take much out of the first draft of a format, but I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more of these types of videos in the future, and leave a comment below with what you're enjoying about the new set as you draft it as well, and I'll see you in the next one.